What's up? How's it going, everyone? My name is Mr. M. Welcome back to my channel. Got a collection update. First one I've done in a while. I've actually gotten quite a bit of stuff in since the last collection update that I did, but a lot of them are new releases from this year, and I've been making my year-end list and still am working on my year-end list. I felt it best just not to talk about them until my year-end list, or maybe I'll do a collection update next year in January talking about them, just to avoid being redundant, in case something does end up on my year-end list. I'm not talking about it, in a collection update and then a couple weeks later in my year-end list. So the videos I have, or not the videos, fuck, the music that I have for this update, a couple of them are reissues, some of them I got at shows. There are a couple from this year that obviously aren't going to be in my year-end list since I'm talking about them now, but they're all good and worth talking about. First up on the list, I'll do Torture Rack. Headsplit Records did a couple of reissues. This is their demo, EP, whatever you'd like to call it. Medieval Mutilation. Super old school looking print, white shell with the red lettering. Basic J card, nothing too special. I love that artwork though, super good. Torture Rack already writes super dirty, dingy riffs. I believe this was their first release, and so this was super primitive sounding. And they also have some noise elements in there, which I don't usually like, because I fucking hate noise. But the way that they're implemented, the only song I can know off the top of my head is Field of Mutilation that has noise in it, but it's very subtle. It's not overpowering at all. It sounds great. And some of the screams in there, I personally think that he screams more on this demo than he did in their next two albums. And the way he screams, it sounds like Chris Barnes from when he was in Cannibal Corpse. It's so good. Then they also did the reissue on their debut album, Barbaric Persecution. Hopefully you can see that well. Obviously I'm in a new setup right now, which the lighting is kind of dark, but I kind of like that, because it reduces the glare on the jewel cases and the shrink wraps for the releases. But obviously, as you saw with this being a darker album cover, the dark light doesn't help. Red shell, black lettering for this one. Every single song on this is so good. Compared to Malefic Humiliation, the record that came after this, which came out last year, I feel like this one has a more cleaner production, which is kind of weird because usually bands start to have a cleaner production sound as they go further in their career, and this one was the first one, and I think Malefic Humiliation has a less clean tone, which was obviously, that was their second record. But yeah, this still, I think it's just over 30 minutes. There's 11 songs. Super good. If you like caveman riffing, stuff that comes straight out of a sewer, definitely give Torture Rack a listen. The thing is though, with Torture Rack, their demo, I cannot find it online anywhere. I've searched Bandcamp. I don't think it's on Apple Music or iTunes at all. So you pretty much just have to buy it to get to listen to it. I'm sure like maybe one or two songs is on YouTube or something, but even then when I searched the demo up, it wasn't there. I got to see Superstition about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Them, Dreadnought, and Vermin Womb opened for Blood Incantation for their album release show. All of them fucking killed it. I'm so happy that Vermin Womb came back. Their grinding death metal that they do just tops everything in that similar genre of music. But Superstition, first time I got to see them, they came up from New Mexico to play the show. I picked up their demo, EP, mini LP, whatever you want to call it, Surging Throng of Evil's Might. Love this thing. The Morbid Angel influence on it it's quite noticeable, but they are definitely not copying them. They had self-released the cassette of this when it first came out, and then it got picked up by 20 Buck Spin, which released this on CD and vinyl, and I think they did a reissue on tape that went out on the label too. And that came out last year along with this, their 2018 promo, which has 2 songs on it on a blank green, transparent green shell. Um, One of the songs I know became, I got the CD right here, I'll just look. Highly Atoned Beasts of the Dark. And I think the other one became Spiritual Sunderange, I think is how that's pronounced, off of their debut album that came out earlier this year, The Anatomy of Unholy Transformation. But I'm not going to talk about that because that's going to be my year-end list. But what I will say, I do dig these versions of the song better than what's on the album. I like the raw sound so much better with this promo compared to what is on their full-length album. Now let's jump to some mainstream music. Motley Crue. This is the Saints of Los Angeles, their most recent album, I guess I can say, since they are coming back. Not gonna lie, I kind of hope this stays their final album. This was their first album at the time in 8 years. This came out in 2008. Their previous album, New Tattoo, came out in 2000. This was also their first album with their original lineup since 1997. On New Tattoo, Tommy didn't play drums. Obviously, this is not 80s Motley Crue. As much as they probably wanted to be, they couldn't pull it off. It's just times were changing. You know, bands can't always sound how they used to be. 12 songs and an intro song, but for a comeback record, I guess this would have been, you know, it's pretty solid. It is definitely better, in my opinion, than their previous 3 albums, which were their self-titled Generation Swine and New Tattoo. Personally, I'm sure someone would kick my ass in real life for saying this. I think this is better than Girls, 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 just because some of those songs were so forgettable. And I know some of the songs that are on here aren't that great either, but if you compare Girls, Girls, Girls to Saints of Los Angeles, I think some of them are more memorable off of this album than that one. And it comes with a slipcase too. It has their Crew Fest tour dates from 2008. You know, and this album was basically, they were basically writing songs about the book The Dirt. A lot of it is autobiographical, super cool sounding to hear it in a song form as opposed to just being in a book, or now the movie that came out earlier this year. And truth be told, I kind of hope this stays their final album because they did release some new music for the Dirt soundtrack earlier this year. And I thought they were good, but I didn't think they were as good as this. And I don't think they have it in them to make another good sounding album. You know, like I said, the 80s are done. That was when they released all of their best material. You know, as much as they want to, like with this one, or even some of the records from the 90s, you know, they may want to try to capture that 80s sound, but they're not going to be able to. You know, especially with Vince sounding the way he does. You know, they auto-tuned the shit out of his voice on those songs earlier this year. Next up, I saw this band open up for Ginger when they did their North American headlining tour. This is The Browning with Geist, put out on Spine Farm Records. The Browning is a metalcore band that uses electronic elements, kind of like what Attack Attack and Asking Alexandria did in their early years. And this is one of the few bands that are still left around doing that. You know, I think them, Palisades, and Icy Stars are the only ones that are still doing that, which I think is probably a good thing, because it used to be so oversaturated, you know, the mixing the EDM with metalcore. And now I think the 3 bands that are left doing it are like the 3 best bands that did it, you know. And 12 songs on here, every single song is a banger. So if you like that late 2000s, early 2010s metalcore infused with some EDM, definitely give that one a listen. And my last two releases that I'm going to talk about are both Black Friday record store releases. This first one, I didn't even think I was going to get my hands on. This is Acid Witch with Black Christmas Evil. There's a total of 1,000 copies of these made, and usually the record store that I go to is extremely small, so they don't get stuff that's this limited usually. So I was pretty happy with that. There was 1,000 copies total. 750 of them are on this transparent red. That almost looks like a purple if you look at it in a certain light. And then the last 250 were on black, which I think you can get the black one directly from the band. Their big cartel or their website, I can't remember which. And then it also comes with an insert for the lyrics. And if you want some horror-infused Christmas music, look no further than this. Obviously, you're not going to get much because it's only 2 songs. Black Christmas and Christmas Evil, which those 2 songs combined make up the title for this EP. But Slasher Dave is one of my favorite vocalists going right now. I love his vocal style. I'm so happy I got to see these guys earlier this year. I hope I get to see them again soon. But yeah, it's Acid Witch doing their thing, putting their evil horror stamp on some Christmas music. Fucking love it. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about, this is Slipknot with All Out Life and Unsainted. I believe that side is All Out Life and this side is Unsainted. As far as I know, this is the only physical release that has All Out Life. This All Out Life was released on Halloween last year and then did not make it onto their album this year. And then Unsainted was the first single from that album. I dig these songs. They're definitely better than Psychosocial. All Hope Is Gone and The Gray Chapter. I think that album in particular is. But if you compare it, the comparison is to Korn, obviously, because they're similar styles of music, new metal-y, and they both released albums this year. And Slipknot doesn't even compare to Korn's. Korn's is so much better. But I think these songs and We Are Not Your Kind, their new album, are a big step up for the band given their previous 2 releases. And I've seen them live when they did their Knotfest Roadshow tour with Volbeat, Gojira, and Behemoth. They put on such a great show. But I don't know the limitation on this. I think it was 5,000, maybe 10,000. But yeah, We're Not Your Kind isn't going to be on my year-end list, but it's definitely better than the last 2 albums, like I said. And that's going to conclude this video. Links to everything will be in the description below if you want to check it out. I think what's left for 2019 is I'm going to do the Metalhead box, the 3-year anniversary one. And then I'm going to do a top EP splits, 7 inches and stuff like that. And then I'm going to do 2 videos for my top 20, going from 20 to 11, and then my top 10. And then that'll close out that year, and I'll pick up probably sometime in the middle of January. So yeah, thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and all of that. And I will catch you in the next one.